Welcome to Surviving Wokeland with Ethan Quinn, a channel dedicated to exposing and explaining the ideology driving wokeness. Today, Galileo Galilei is considered the father of modern science. However, this has not always been the case. In 1633, Galileo was brought before the Inquisition by the Catholic Church and convicted of heresy. His crime was claiming the Earth was not the center of the universe and revolved around the sun, something the church leadership of the time found very offensive. After being forced to recant his claims, Galileo spent the remainder of his life under house arrest. You would imagine that in the 390 years since Galileo's conviction, things would have changed. But unfortunately, we have regressed to the time of the Inquisition. Recently, a student at a Catholic school in Canada was suspended for a comment he made about gender, and told that he would only be allowed back to class if he recanted. The student, Josh Alexander, maintained his stance, and was arrested for trespassing when he returned to school. So what did Alexander say that is so offensive that the school is demanding he recants, and believes it worthy of imprisoning a teenager? I said there were only two genders, and you were born either a male or a female, and that got me into trouble. And then I said that gender doesn't trump biology. Clearly, Western society is again mimicking the intolerance of 1633. Galileo and Josh Alexander were forced to recant objectively truthful statements. But inconvenient facts are not safe when they challenge ideology. The Earth does rotate around the sun, and as surely as it does, there are only two genders. Today, the inquisitors of woke ideology are just as willing to convict anyone who dares say something as offensive as, there are only two genders. In 1633, it didn't matter if what Galileo said was true, because it threatened the Catholic Church's ideology. So it was banned. And today it doesn't matter if what you say is true. It only matters whether or not it contradicts woke ideology. And if it does, it's not allowed. In 1926, H.L. Mencken wrote about the value of free speech, and described the exact tactic that woke ideology employs to attack free speech. Herein lies the value of free speech. It makes concealment difficult, and, in the long run, impossible. One heretic, if he is right, is as good as a host. He is bound to win in the long run. It is thus no wonder that foes of the Enlightenment always begin their proceedings by trying to deny free speech to their opponents. It is dangerous to them, and they know it. So they have at it by accusing these opponents of all sorts of grave crimes and misdemeanors, most of them clearly absurd, in other words, by calling them names and trying to scare them. Just as the Spanish Inquisition used the accusation of heresy as a way to silence and persecute opponents. Woke ideology now uses the accusation of bigotry to silence opponents. Josh Alexander has been labeled a bully and a bigot just for stating a simple objective fact that challenges the woke narrative. And like the Spanish Inquisition burnt people at the stake to frighten others into compliance, Josh's suspension and arrest was a fascistic warning to other students to submit or be punished. George Orwell predicted this would happen. In his novel 1984, he wrote, "Not merely the validity of experience, but the very existence of external reality, was tacitly denied by their philosophy. The heresy of heresies was common sense."
Do you remember writing in that diary of yours that freedom is the freedom to say that 2 plus 2 make 4? How many fingers am I holding out? 4. And if the state says not 4, but 5, how many? 4. Take him.
In 1685, the Enlightenment started. It was also known as the Age of Reason, and it freed Europe from the grip of myth and superstition. It is time for a new enlightenment in the West, a new age of reason. It is time to wake up from wokeness. That is all I have for today. Please like and subscribe. And please support this channel by downloading my book, The Ministry of Truth, How Propaganda Fuels the Culture War. And join me again tomorrow as we learn how to survive Wokeland together. Until then, this is Ethan Quinn saying, stay free.